Hello, my friends. Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the two different projects that are similar because mostly they started with the idea of people surviving in like wild uh, area, like some remote island or just wilderness. And of course, we know that the Yellowjackets actually uh, started with the plane crash, and then there was a lot of uh, things happened during season one, season two, and I'm going to point out like what actually has changed and why now we are so missing the like uh, the initial vibe of that survival. Because back then when I just started watching season one, everything was like so focused on the just getting food, getting all the needs, find some shelters. So everything was just so focused on the survival tasks, like minimal tasks. And that was so like fascinating because I have never seen like the perfect survival movie or TV show with a lot of different characters, and almost like every single character is just interesting, and unique. And since after you know they started just focusing more on that enigmatic, obscure spirit of that wilderness, like everything has changed, and now it feels more like I'm watching completely different TV show or something. Uh, they shifted everything like to more like that spiritual vibe, and especially when we see characters like Van, uh, who is basically sleepwalking, and she has some visions. Sometimes they're so weird, like she has some connection to everything that happened in wilderness, and she was probably always like this, so I cannot really like say that she has changed or something. The TV show has changed, like overall it feels like different. Now it's not like some particular character, it's more about like the whole thing has changed. So, and they didn't even bother to explain how from complete deprivation of everything, like they didn't have food, they didn't have anything to survive. Like in season one, they were forced to fight for every single food, every single like item to survive. But like at some point we can see they have everything. For example, a lot of animals, like wild ones, they have like different species of animals, and we didn't even see the point where it happened, like where they got that from. And it is pretty bad because the process of receiving, haunting, the process of them trying to get everything like to survive, to keep living there, that was only like in season 1, season 2, and then it's completely just, gone. Because now it's more about sacrificing. It's all just focused on the one thing, to create some type of cult, and everyone just, obeying to wilderness, like, and you have to sacrifice. Like, once upon a time they sacrificed, and now they have to keep sacrificing, like, consistently. And the idea is just becoming so convenient, because they now just can only put seasons with like with no survival vibe, or with like minimal things that should be like that should be in every season, because they are still there, and they're still in need of everything, like from food to just essentials, like for hygiene, for shelters, just to prepare for the winter, like basic needs. But I'm pretty sure that the next like 2 seasons are gonna be the same. It's gonna be like complete focus on the mysterious shit that happening around, and just nothing about the survival. Because probably the first, like, when they came up with this idea of survival in the wilderness with a group of women, like high school teenagers, and they all trying to be just together, and there is a leader, like, for example, in this season 3, the leader was chosen, and that was Natalie, and then the leader has changed to Shauna. So we have one complete leader who has all the power, and they can go with this type of with this storyline, like for 2 more seasons, like season 4, season 5 could be still the same, like Shauna is a leader, and everyone just is trying to escape from this trap. And season 3 actually ended with Natalie finding that signal, and she actually made a call, and it seems like they are gonna be survivors, and they are gonna be just in season 4 they leaving this place, but we don't know exactly how many of them, and we don't know exactly how long it's gonna last, because they can easily just drag it out to season 5, and they can easily just drag it out to season 6. So there is like endless opportunity to create season after season, because they have unlimited amount of everything. They can just do season with, putting some new characters, removing some old characters, just make another sacrifice, and then you can just go with another cliffhanger. And of course, this is not a good for like the TV show overall. It's gonna just kill the whole interest in it, because the audience see that the audience, like, I personally, I see how the my favorite things from season 1, season 2, they are just gone, because I like this TV show for survival part of this. And like in season 3, I just missing this part because it's just narrowed down to just minimum. And there is, in every episode, we can see like a little part when they actually do something to keep living, like to keep alive, because they do a lot of spiritual stuff. They do a lot of investigations, and they are older versions. Like, for example, this Shona older version, she became like the center or something, like she became the main part of this reality of the TV show, because she has like some past that is connected to the future, and she killed a lot of people, and a lot of people was killed because of her. And she has that weight on her shoulders, and she's gonna be like probably killed at some point, but they still keeping her as the leader, as like the only person who is like probably can do everything. Like, actually, she can do whatever it takes to survive, and it doesn't matter if it's her older version or if it's her teen version. She is still the same. She has never changed. And we can see that when she met the Melissa older version as well, they're both just still the same. And that argument they had like 20 years ago, it's still strong, and they still like they are rivals. And it gained a lot of screen time, like, but we could have just got more of the teen versions, because I actually only care about like teen versions and the wilderness, and how they were actually the main focus in season 1, season 2, and now just the older versions, they became just complete. They just they are more important now than those teenagers who survived in this wilderness, and this change is not actually that obvious. But when you can compare something to something you really enjoyed, like in season 1, I enjoyed how they started like creating this shelter, how they find how they managed to find that little house, how they how they tried to find anything. And now it seems like they already have everything they need, like from the food, from like animals, some type of, essentials. They have pretty much everything. So at this point, there is like, it feels there is no actual need to show like how they struggle anymore. They only struggle now because of they have actual no purpose to be there, and they have to escape, but they do not actually want to escape. It feels like they now just belong to the wilderness, and when they have a chance to get out of there, they have chosen just to stay there. And this is not like bilateral choice or something. There was the only one choice made by the leader, and Shona decided just to keep everyone there as long as possible. And I think that this is pretty much about just dragging it out to season 4, season 5, and probably season 6, because once they rescued from this wilderness, there is no season 5 at least, right? Like, you need just to finish it, because if you drag it even like more, it could just, be complete just flop. Nobody would even care about them, like, after they rescued, right? Like, the only thing that is like keeps me watching it is that they are still there. They're not rescued, but they are gonna be rescued at some point. We already know that the connection created like between the civilization and the wilderness, and we can see that still some of the members of this group don't really know if they actually need to get out of there, or if they need still stay because it feels right. It feels like the right choice, and to still sacrifice to make some, I don't know. It feels like just another way just to drag it out as long as possible, They already divided the whole group like in 2 parts. One part that is pretty sure gonna be rescued, but there is another part that is diehards, and they don't actually want to be rescued. They prefer to stay there, like, and keep the cult, keep the sacrificing going. And probably the most dramatic, for me at least, the most dramatic scene was like this this moment when she ate Van's heart. Like, that was wild, because even 20 years later, she has still this part, and it has never died actually. Like, eating your companions, or sacrificing. I don't know what that was, but it felt more like, she made another sacrifice by eating the heart. She just, uh, relieved herself. She relieved the pain probably, or something. Like she lost her love of life. She lost the entire purpose to still, live. And she completely just, she's just lost. So she do stupid things, and she preferred just to eat the heart of her of Ben. So after this season, I have strong feeling that we are gonna see one more seasons of Wilderness, and some of the members pretty sure they are gonna be still there, but some gonna be rescued. So, and after this TV show, I actually simultaneously I've been watching the other reality show, another reality show, because recently I have changed like the whole, concept of the content on this channel. I'm now interested more in the like reality shows instead of TV shows, because I feel like this is actually my cup of tea, and I feel more like integrated when I see reality show. I feel actual connecting, or something like I live it through. I can actually put myself in that situation. And I watched recently this Survivor 2025 Spanish version of Survivor, and I found it pretty good, because from the very beginning we can see some contestants from the previous reality shows like Temptation Island, and I have already introduced like Manuel, Montoya, Anita in one of my previous streams about Temptation Island, and you already know that this trio, they were put in a villa in Temptation Island, and one of them, Manuel, was like put to seduce Anita. And after this, we saw that the relationship was ruined completely. Like Montoya was completely just destroyed, and his relationship just destroyed. But in this reality show, this is not a thing. This is not about relationship. This is not about like find your love thing or something. Like, there is no like, there is pretty much a lot of drama and personal drama. Like, they are still trying to figure out like if they're gonna be together or not, like they're still like trying to sort it out. But this is not the main focus. Like, what I really love about this reality show, in that they're showing like the whole thing, like from the survival tasks, like fishing, like preparing food, to just competitions, like when you can get any type of food, if you just if you can win, like for example this competition, you can just actually win some type of food, like real one, like it's pretty rewarding. And I like when it feels really rewarding, like they do that and they know exactly what they can get from participating. Like for example, they at the beginning they were put the three of them were put on the Playa Misterio. This is like the mystery shore, the mystery shelter, where just nothing, there's no like essentials, no fire, no food, only like coconuts and some type of berries. There is nothing actually, and they were put together, and after like competing in some events, they the two of them were chosen to get out of this place, and the only person who has remained there, Manuel. So that was so frustrating for him, but I feel like that was just so real, because when a single person just surviving without like essential needs, and when they show every moment like of him, how he finding food, fishing, and how he's trying to stay strong, like the vibe, like the whole vibe is pretty good, because this is pretty much what I'm missing in like TV shows like Yellowjackets, and of course some of stuff like this. For example, when they fighting for food, like for some type of rewards, some stuff looks pretty scripted and staged. Like I don't know exactly how real these moments are, because sometimes it feel like they don't really excited about getting the food. They are not really in need or something. But again, like when I'm watching like him eating this burger and the other person just staying there, I don't really know like how it works. Like when you were deprived of everything, like for a long time, for quite a long time, how you can react like this, like how you can be calm and stay just there, and how it cannot bother you, someone just eating food in front of you, and you was starving pretty much, and the reaction is just feels so off, like it feels like she wasn't really starving. She was like getting some food, but we don't know exactly what happened behind the screen, like if they showing the actual moment, or if it's just, something that happened before, after like some moments, probably they could have got some food before, and they already feel like they are not that hungry, so they're not completely like rushing to eat it or something like. And I like how every time they see the reward they're gonna get for competing, every time it's gonna be either one person like personal reward, or it's gonna be teamwork, like all the food is gonna be eaten by one team. And for example, sometimes it's just two persons sitting and eating those dishes, and everybody is just watching it. And this is, of course, like, this is adding the atmosphere in those survival, and it makes like the contrast between those who still deprived of the food, and between those who actually managed to get something, and sometimes it could be just particular item or some type of canned food or something. They can get everything by competing in this reality show. And not everything, of course, is valuable. Like, for example, a lot of stuff is just not useless, but it's not completely like rewarding you, in some type of way. Like, and the other part about this reality show that makes actually the whole thing interesting is how they eating together when they get this, for example, pasta or something. They go wild, like, it feels like they were starving for some period. It feels like they actually so hungry, and this is just another thing that is like creating this vibe, and the survival feels so real. Like, so I cannot think that this is fake or something, because seeing them going crazy like this, and then the other team is just eating after them, and this is even more wild. Like, see this, so these little things, like, getting some type of foods, getting some items to survive, this is what should be in TV shows or movies that were created, initially, that were created like with the survival idea, but then they just start missing it. So, like, we need to see more stuff like this in those TV shows like Yellowjackets, or now we're getting The Last of Us season 2. So keep more stuff like this, more details, more daily routine, like survival tasks, minimal just a little, and it would be better, because the vibe, the whole thing, it's just it's become more real when you see those details, like preparing food, like hunting, doing some stuff, what we can see the actual like struggling, not the only like mental struggling, like trying to find that connection with wilderness or something. There's another part, there's more about like psychological and emotional connection, but the actual survival, the good survival, is where you can see all the details from, again, from making food to just, how they sleep in that, area, how they manage to create some type of comfort, how they put in shelters, how they, how they do everything. Little things, they can actually make the difference. And this reality show is actually what makes difference for me. When you see a lot of repetitive reality shows like I don't know, Temptation Island was good, but Shore franchise like Italia, French Shore, Jersey Shore, and more. I don't know what the difference between like any of those, because there is like nothing that really differentiates any of those, like, but the difference feels real. It feels there when you can see details, like something that is distinguishes more your project. For example, this Survivor, it stands out because there are a lot of episodes, of course, and a lot of characters, and at some point you could be expelled from your team, and you could be sent to the mystery island that is like deprived of all the things you could have had at your shelter. And at some point you can be like, you can be sent even home. You could be expelled from the whole thing, so there is a lot of things to fight for. You can be you could be there just for fighting for your spot on this reality show, because this is pretty much a good goal for staying there. Or you can just fight for food, you can fight for better shelter and to become a part of another shelter, of another team, or you can just try to create some type of friendship with some people. There are a lot of like benefits from this reality show, and of course the main part probably is that they all just gain some recognition and becoming more like media persons, but the whole thing is that this reality show is actually showing the purpose, and it shows why they actually still pushing themselves to the limits, why they're still struggling and still trying to be there, you know, why they're still fighting for that reality show and trying to be there. Because there is actual reward, you know. It's not like something when I'm watching like any other reality show, you know, I keep asking myself like why are they still doing this, or what actually they, you know, they want from this, like what the actual purpose of this. And you cannot actually answer on some type of reality shows. There is no answer, there's no exact answer, because there is no distinct purpose, there's no distinct goal of those contestants, you know. They just do all that just to do that, you know. It is what it is. Just I found this reality show and I like it because of the real purpose of every contestant, you know, keep fighting for all this shit. And I like how they actually, you know, they actually splitting every coconut, every food, every like they actually just, you know, sharing everything. And the whole thing is just based on how you can, you know, put yourself in the situation when you have no advantage of anyone. Like you can be physically more strong, you can be, you know, like mentally probably you can more prepared for this experience, but you have actually zero advantage of this situation. And you know, it is pretty good because you cannot just rely on your appearance, you cannot rely on your, you know, like you can rely on your skills, of course, but you cannot rely on your like again, you cannot rely on your charm, you know, like, because there is no reason to seduce someone, there is no reason, you know, to find some type of drama. But they do find drama, they create a lot of situations out of nothing, like, you know. And for example, probably the real annoying thing about this reality show is that when you have characters like Montoya, we know him from the Temptation Island, and how, you know, obnoxious he could be sometime. And he's actually going like wild on this reality show sometimes. It's just, he's so unbearable, you know. And I cannot actually just listen to 30 minutes of fighting, unstoppable fighting, like shouting and like screaming, you know. So this is probably the most annoying part of this reality show, when they put unnecessarily too much of scandals and some type of dragged out dramas, like between Anita and Montoya. There is still the same shit that was happening in Temptation Island, and they still dragging it out because probably they are like favorites of a lot of people, and they have a lot of fans. Like the audience, probably the main audience probably likes watching them fighting or like arguing, and this is probably just works for views and to push this reality show. Sometimes it's just too much. I want to see again more the survival and not that drama, because if I want to see drama and that type of content, I would probably go for another reality show like, again, Temptation Island or Love Island. I don't know, because those were created specifically for relationship and like find your love type of reality show. So if I want to see those, I would go watch reality show like Love Island probably. But I'm there for this Survivor season 26 because of how good it actually reflects on struggling and being trapped in this remote area on Little Island, or I don't know how big it is, but the location is Honduras, and the whole area just seems pretty remote. There is no like cities nearby. There's no like actual civilization. So it seems pretty real, like they were actually just sent there to be survivors. And at some point we can see like it becomes even more interesting, because there is of course some type of rewards, and they fighting for rewards. They fighting for the spot on this reality show, and everything just so well put together, because the balance of everything, like of survival and competitions, and then voting for expelling someone, and then just swapping characters between different islands, between different teams, but at the same time they all like stay on the same island, but they divided like into 3 different teams, and you can be expelled and sent to like the place where there is no actually like there is no essential needs, like there is no fire, there's no like fishing utilities, and you need to fight for those. You need to fight for fire, you need to fight for like some extra stuff, and of course this is why I put this reality show right after the Yellowjackets, because this is pretty much what Yellowjackets missing now. And should you put all those aspects, like survival aspects, back in Yellowjackets projects, it could have become again like favorite TV show, at least of mine, because I pretty much enjoyed first 2 seasons. And this is the only solution I see for Yellowjackets to stay viral, or at least to stay interesting in the future, you know. And next stream, I'm gonna just, you know, randomly pick some reality show or TV show. I don't know exactly, because there is not a lot of choice, you know. I don't have, like, I have pretty much nothing but something, you know. Something could come out, like, and probably we can go with another reality show, because this is pretty much what I like right now. And the reality show should be interesting and watchable, because if it's just another find your love type of reality show, it's just not my cup of tea, you know. But I'm pretty sure that something is gonna be out soon. So thank you for watching. See you next time, and take care.